Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We are live. Yes. Facebook was giving me a hard time again. So hopefully it will stay connected this time, because last time it threw Facebook out. So we're there. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Just let me see if I can get the comments to work. That would be nice, right? Because that means that I can see what you're saying. You're there. What's wrong here? Nonce. Yes, we have someone there. That's good. And I am looking for the comments from YouTube, which seem to have vanished. Hello, Els. Hello, Miranda. Hello. I'm just looking for the YouTube comments, which were there, and now they're not, which is interesting. How's everybody doing? I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. There, I found those. There we go. We should be almost done now with all the technical bits. I'm sorry, but it's fairly, I can't do anything about it. It's Facebook that was throwing me off this time again. So, let me see. You go there. Come on, play with me. Play nice, guys. There we go. Found everybody. Hello, hello, hello. No sound? Okay, good. Now you're scaring me. Hello. I hope everybody had a fantastic Christmas, if you celebrated Christmas. So, hi everybody. Sorry, it was really messy going live because Facebook kept throwing me out. But we're there. That's what it's all about, right? As you may have noticed, I'm sounding a bit weird, which is I'm just going to be open. Belinda, people saying they're having sound. I don't know. So, I don't know. Hi, Jackie. Thank you. Thank you, Femke, for confirming that. I've been ill over Christmas. It started to come in the last live I did, and I was ill over Christmas. So my plan is completely different than what was mentioned on Facebook before. I'm gonna stay in my comfort zone, and I'm just gonna play with ink. I'm gonna have some fun. It's gonna be a good live. I think it's gonna be very fun. Inky fingers, messy. I'm gonna show you different color combinations. I've picked out a few. I had a whole list prepared for another live that I'm just going to pull forward now. So that's fairly what I've done. But speaking is hard. This didn't need any preparation from my side, not as much preparation as the live that I had planned. So that's why we've changed things around, and I'm going to do this one. Now, actually, this is going to be fun because this live and everything I'm making in this live, I'm going to use Friday. Friday is going to be a fun live because you're going to have Els and me together for the launch of something really fun. Now, if you can't wait till that, keep an eye out on the YouTube channel from Elizabeth Craft Designs, because I'm pretty sure the 1st of January there will be something on, and keep an eye out for at your local store, because, well, it was the second one. Belinda, it was the second one. I know that for a fact. Right, so we're going to launch something really fun the 1st of January. I'm not going to do sneak peeks. Not going to happen, because it's just one thing that's coming out the 1st of January. So that's going to be then. But everything I'm making today, I'm going to use in that thing that we're going to show you on Friday. Doesn't make sense now. It will make sense on Friday. So I will be working on that today. Hi Wanda, hi Anita, hi Robin, hi Angelique, Rebecca's here. So everybody, don't forget to like, share and comment to be able to win a $50 gift certificate, because I need to announce the winner from last week. And the winner from last week's gift certificate is Kathy Thrush. Kathy Thrush. Congratulations, Kathy. You're the winner of the $50 gift certificate. So yeah, it's not really a bigger release, but it's just one item, but it's going to be so much fun. Oh. And one thing you need for that release is, and I'm going to be open with you, that is the 2292 Build a Journal. 2292 Build a Journal, because that's what you're going to need for that product that we're going to release. Okay, No, 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 no. No sneak peeks. No, this is monthly release, which is actually pretty good because we now know every first Wednesday of the month we're going to have a release, which is really good. And I think that's very clear. Hi, Ellen. Hi, Brenda. Hi, Anita. Hi, everybody. So I think that is pretty good that we're doing it that way. And then there will be some little extras thingies in between. There will be specials coming. It'll be a fantastic year. Absolutely fantastic. This one was something that we snuck that in. It really is an extra. I'll explain everything Friday. But yeah, that's it. So let's get inky and let's get some dirty fingers and some fun bits, shall we? Switch the camera around. At least you won't see this scruffy face anymore. That's good. There we go. There. Hello. That worked. Right. Things like this. But what color combinations can you use for this, for ink blending? And last time I was doing the live, I was talking about the color wheel and how to combine colors from that. This is sort of going forward with that same theory. I love this. These are gorgeous, and I'm going to show you how to make these today. I thought that would be fun. In between, I'm drinking water, so that's what you hear. So, does that sound like a plan? I think it's fun, right? And Jeff, sorry, I messed up all the titles because things weren't working. So, thanks for doing that. Okay. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do two different things. I'm going to do an ink smushing, and I'm going to do some ink blending, and all of that with the same color combination. So, what I'm doing is I've got strips of paper here. These are soft finish card, because soft finish card for me is perfect for ink blending. And I've got some watercolor paper here that I'm going to be working on. And I'm working on the matte layers for the ink smooshing. So, another thing I do for the ink smooshing, sorry it looks dirty, is this beautiful silicone mat that comes with the Tim Holtz glass media mat. This is not straight. There we go. And I like to do my ink smooshing on that. So I've got that ready to go. I've got my paper for ink blending here, and I've got my paper for the ink smooshing here. So we're all set and ready to go. And I'm going to give you some color combinations that you might not really expect. Let's start with this one. I've got Rusty Hinge, Crackling Campfire, and Speckled Egg. Now, I'm going to blend them in this order. So let's get started, shall we? And I've got my brushes. I've got my thingies ready to go. And I just need a brown ink brush. Brown, where are you? There you go. Okay, so let's start with Rusty Hinge. So I'm gonna load up my brush, and one of the key things with ink blending on paper is make sure you've got enough ink on your brush. I really want saturation, and that's not this. So again, load up that brush. And you see, you get a lot more intensity of that pigment, and that's what you want. If you want a good blend, that's what you want. So really make sure that you layer that on there. So I've started with Rusty Hinge here. Then I'm going to go to Speckled Egg. So I'm going to change brushes, clean up my brush again for whatever blue is still on there. You see, there was some good ink on there. So I'm just cleaning that off. And load up Speckled Egg. And I'm going to do that from this side. Just like that. And again, make sure your brush is well loaded. Yes, Olivia, that's what it is. Every first Wednesday of the new month, there will be a new release. I love Speckled Egg. And of course, this will dry lighter, so don't worry about that too much. And then I'm going to come in the center with crackling campfire. Thank you for liking, sharing and commenting. Hi Astrid. So this is sort of red, white and blue, but no. No. Now the white is gone. So what I'm doing, I'm just layering that ink first in the center. And then I'm gonna come in with a loaded brush and blend it into the other color. Like so. Then I'm coming back in with Rusty Hinge from the other side. Make sure you don't pick up too much ink color from your glass media mat and blend that color in that way. That way you get a beautiful, beautiful blend. Now these colors are quite easy because they're close together, right? You see how beautiful blended that is. Now I'm going to turn that around, just picking up that ink, and get my speckled egg, and I'm just gonna blend the speckled egg into that crackling campfire. And then coming back with crackling campfire, blend that into that speckled egg. And now this is funny, because here you see what I spoke about last week, about undertones. This is sort of turning muddy, where normally red and blue would give you purple. But now this gives you a bit of mud, because there's orange in here. This is not a pure red. This is not a pure blue. So orange and green are sort of opposite of the color wheel. So you get mud. So, but I still think this is a nice vintage blend. Okay, what I'm going to do is, and I'm not going to do one now. I've got a Sharpie here, and I'm going to write down speckled egg. I'm going to short it. Then I'm going to write crackling campfire. And Rusty Hinge. So now I've got a reference card that I will put in something fun, and that will be, this is a Rusty blend, exactly. Now this will be a reference guide for me. So if I don't have inspiration, I can come back to this. So that's what I'm going to create for all the colors that I've got in front of me. Put this one to the side to dry. I nearly said something I shouldn't say. Else would have killed me. Right, my water is done. But I've got drinking water here, so I can fill up my bottle. I promise you there's water in this bottle. Alcohol would not do me any good at the moment. They are, definitely. Hi Rosita, hi Nance, thank you. Right, so that is the first blend. So that one's done. I can put that one to the side. Let's do another one, which is aged mahogany, wild honey, and fired brick. Shall we? Oh, I'm forgetting something. I should do the ink smushing. Sorry, my brain is still not there. Okay, what I do, on my silicone mat, I'm going to do the lightest color first. Make sure there's a good layer of that on there. I'm going to have some crackling campfire, and there will be some brown hints in this. So, we'll see. Rusty Hinge, speckled egg, crackling campfire. I'm always pulling my fingers through so I don't get the blocks. And in this case I'm going to water down my card, because this card is pretty absorbent. And I'm just going to pull that through and pull that through. Okay. I can already see the speckled egg being lost, which I expected to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dry this. Yes, Els, welcome back in your craft room, but I'm pretty sure you missed Canada, because it looked stunning. It absolutely looked stunning. It does, Belinda. The mud helps a lot. Belinda says I'm never getting tired of ink smushing. Neither am I. I love that. But even though it's taken over, you still see that blue here and there where my thumb is wiggling. You still see it. You just need it to be dry now for the next step. Okay. I'm not going to get rid of this, but I am going to do a bit of extra speckled egg. It looked amazing, Els. It really did. First, I want some extra speckled egg, so I'm just going to put some on my mat there. I'm just going to dump that in. You see, just creating a bit more of that splatter there. And then I'm just going to dab the rest in. And that's how I like to build up my backgrounds, because that's what these are, backgrounds. Then I'm just going to clean off this sludge. And it's clean. You won't say it, but yeah. It's the only downside. This one stains a bit. So I hope you all had a good Christmas. Thank you for liking, sharing, and commenting, Nicole. Okay, just gonna come in back with the blue again, because I want that to be a bit more there. But I am loving this already. And a bit more of the crackling campfire, because Rusty Hinge, now it's dry. You see, Rusty Hinge almost took over everything. So I just want a bit more of that red. But look at that. I love that. Okay, let's go. And what I'm doing, I'm sort of aiming here and on the side here, because I don't want to ruin my blue parts there. But yes, that's good. Just a bit more water here and there. There, love that. Gonna dry that. Well, we just binge watched some series and movies because we were all sick, so it wasn't fun. But okay, we had fun. We made the best of it. So okay, that's clean. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to splatter a bit. Dry again. Grab a piece of paper towel. Thank you, Amy. And dab up that inky goodness. And again, that adds another layer of depth there. You see that? And I love that. You see that darkness? I'm not sure the camera picks it up. You splatter, you heat it, and you get a darker outside of the ink splatter. I love that. Now, I'm just going to show this once. That sounds horrible. But I'm not going to do that to all the examples, but I want to show you the finished result of this one. So, I'm using, I don't know which one this is. I'm just going to use it. I don't care. So I'm loading up a vintage photo and I'm just going to ink it up. Now, ink blending, I do that on the glass mat because I can just come back and pick up that ink. I can sort of stay in the same place and move my paper around like this. And I keep picking up that ink. I haven't reloaded my ink blender. You see that? I'm just keep picking up that same ink, going around and around and around. Now, I want to come back a bit more, so I'm going to pick up a bit more ink. But I'm staying, my blender stays in the same spot. And I'm just moving my piece of paper around. And I'm doing that because I'm coming in quite far. You see that? This is a Ranger one, Chris. Chris was asking what brand glass mat I'm using. It's the Ranger one. So, that was that. Then I'm going to move to ground espresso, which is obviously a much darker color. Much darker. So where is my... I will do the same blending tool. Just pick up the darker color. Now I'm picking it up because I don't want to come in as much, but I am coming in a bit. I'm still quite heavy-handed. Oh, thank you, Em. So, I'm doing that. So even for my brown inking around these, I'm using 3 browns. Okay, that was the ground espresso. Lastly, I'm coming in with scorched timber, which is really the darkest one, almost black. And I'm just going to hit the edge with that. Because I'm doing it this way, you really get a layered look on the outside. And I'm going to do something to that really pulls it all together and makes it all one piece. There we go. So, just gonna splatter that again. You see, I don't know if you see the ink, the water splatters on there. And I'm gonna dry that. I can do this for hours, making these inky backgrounds. I love that. Picking up the leftover color, water on there. And here you've got your perfect background. Isn't that gorgeous? Then what you can do, I love this, is take a stencil, and I've got loads of stencils here. I'm just gonna take, let's take this one. This is my text one. I'm really not sure which one this is, but I'm just going to use that as a background. Now this is frayed burlap. I'm just coming in with my frayed burlap because frayed burlap is in the colors that I'm using. So I'm just, and again this is a background, so I'm not being particular about it. There's another layer. Love that. Then you can build up on that and build up on that, use paste, etc. I'm not going to do that now. But this was tea dye. No, which one was this? This one, Rusty Hinge. I'm confusing myself now, but I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Look at that. I love that. And this is done with these 3 colors. Isn't that cool? So I love that. Okay, put this to the side because I need that for my... that I'm going to show you later. So let me clean this up. This goes there. This was... yeah, I was doing 2 combinations with Rusty Hinge. I think I messed something up, but I'm not sure. Never mind. I'm just going to skip that one then. I'm going to use this one. Okay, we're going to do some more vintage. That was... I'm missing one color now. Where did I put that? How is that even possible? We've done this one. Check. That was the first one. Hi, Diane. Good to see you. Oh, here's tea dye. That was it. That's now I'm back on track. This is frayed burlap, tea dye, and tattered rose. So a really, really soft combination. I'm sorry guys, my brain was... I had it so well laid out in front of me and then I messed it up. Thank you, Jen. Journal Stencils 8. So, I'm going to start again with my ink blending and show you this combination. Frayed burlap. Thank you, Tiffany. I'm using a brush for this. You can use your ink dauber if you want to. Frayed burlap is a gorgeous color. So I'm going to go a bit quicker now because you've seen the principle, right? Tattered rose on the bottom. So I need a pinky brush. Another pinky brush. Tattered rose at the bottom. So this is a perfect task to do when you have a rainy day and you don't have any inspiration. Start doing this. Start making these swatches, play with colors, look at combinations that work or don't work, because some may not work. Tea dye is not a pink. I need a brown. So yeah, you need to just play. Well, you don't need to, but it's fun to just play. Hi, Valerie. So, I'm now coming in with tea dye in the center. I love this combination. Look at that. Tea dye and frayed burlap. Blimey, who would have thought that? And then tea dye and tattered rose. Also very pretty. So, good layer of ink. Then come in with my tattered rose. It would do exactly the same, except it would be more layered. Now I'm messing it up because I'm picking up the wrong color. There we go. And doing it again. Blimey. Oh well, we'll just wet that. Pick up that color. That's the benefit of an ink that is water reactive, right? There we go. But look how pretty that is together. I mean, gorgeous combination this. I love this. Absolutely adore this. Ink splatter that a bit. You see how it bleaches out immediately? Done. So, dry that, and then I'll write down what it was. So, frayed burlap. I will just do frayed. Tea dye. And tattered rose. There we go. That's my second one done. Now we're going to go to ink smushing. So, I'm just going to whack them on there. Make sure there's enough ink on there. Tea dye. Frayed burlap. There we go. Ink that. Get this one. I'm loving this. I'm absolutely loving this. Alright, let's drag that in. Yeah, love that. Very soft, very subtle. This is all blended now. This is just the first layer. So I'm coming back in and I'm going to start with tethered rows now. Well, that's cool, Diane. I mean, this will work with the oxides just as well. I'll do an oxide one in a second. I just want a bit more of that tethered rows on there. You see? That works. Now, what's important here, wet on wet blends. Wet on dry, wet on dry layers. That is the main thing when you build up these backgrounds that you got to remember. You see, wet on dry. You get a layered look. Very soft, very subtle, but I love how subtle this one is. I'm just gonna do one more tap of this one and then a tap of the, because the tea dye is quite dominant. For the ink blending, this is the soft finish card from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and this one is on watercolor paper. That's enough. Just gonna, if it's too much, just wet it, and it will wick out and it will blend in nicely. So, yeah, so soft finish card for the blending part, this one, and watercolor paper for this one. I'm leaving this one as is. Just spritzing a bit of water on there to create these speckles. You see, it's bleaching out already. And I'm just going to lift that color up. And I'll do all the other bits and bobs that I was doing to the other bit. So all the inking, etc. That will, I will do that later. Bye Femke, have a good rest. So that's the second one. Let me see. Shall I do the same combination in oxide? That's a question for you guys. Do you guys want to see the same combination, but then in oxide? Which was tea dye, frayed burlap, tea dye, frayed burlap, tea dye, frayed burlap, and tethered rows. Tethered rows. There we go. Now, okay, this is turning into an ink tutorial. You've got the distress inks and the distress oxides. What's the difference between the two? Oxides are a combination of dye ink and pigment ink, and therefore are not transparent. These are transparent inks. So mixing and matching those two is really fun as well. But for this tutorial, I'm not doing that. Let me just start with, but I need different brushes. I need my oxide brushes. That's this one. That's that one, and I need a very soft. No, let's do the orange one for the rest, for the tea dye. Okay, let's start with the blending bit. Frayed burlap. The ink behaves differently on a silicone mat than on the glass mat. For blending, I like to do it on the glass mat because that takes less ink and it's just no friction, so it just, the ink grabs a hold where it needs to grab a hold. On the silicone sheet for ink smushing, it just behaves in a different way. It's hard to explain, but it does make a difference. The ink beads up differently. You get a different way of. Het parelt anders. I don't know. You get different sizes, pearls, etc. So, that's one side. You go there. Don't mess them up again, David. Tethered rows on the other side. Now, in this case, you've really got to make sure you don't pick this up, because, as I said, this is pigment ink. So make sure that's clean. And then makeup, you've got a good loaded brush. And then start to blend up. Now, this is what got me hooked on the Oxides. Thank you. That was what I was trying to say. The silicone matte, thank you, Belinda. The silicone matte lets the ink beads up much nicer, and therefore you get nicer splotches. This is what made me fall in love with the Oxides when I started, because they are so easy to blend. Now I just blame the ink. That inks are hard to blend. Of course, it's user error. Don't worry. You can learn it. If I can, you can. But I still think blending with the Oxides is such a joy. Okay, last but not least, tea dye in the center. Then you will see the magic of the Oxides, because they blend so differently, but also they cover up the other part more. So they are not not translucent. So you see, I can create a line. You see that? I'm doing it again, right? I'm such a dork. I was doing the right thing. Sorry. So what you do, you blend it up, then come in with the other color, blend back down. And then my line is gone, and you have a beautiful blend. Let's do that same here. So I'm coming in down with this color. Then I'm going to go back up with frayed burlap. And this makes it way easier to blend with the Oxides. But they do look different. They do look different. Especially when you wet them. Hi, Cindy. Oh, well, you can always look back. So, spritz. Don't get water in your containers. Oxides respond completely different to water than your inks. And that's why it's so... that's what I said, Sylvia. Oxides are opaque, normal distress inks are translucent. So you really see that here. That's why they're so easy to blend. But you can also see they react completely different with water. It's all soft and creamy. Which do I prefer? I don't have a favorite, to be honest. I love Oxides, but I do love the inks as well. And especially when you start mixing the two up, you get a really fun... You can really play with it. You can really play with the different properties of the inks. So for me, I can't choose. Look, this is softer. You also get a softer blend. But I love both. So, okay. I've got a lot of cleaning up to do when I'm done with this. But that's fine. Okay, I want some bright colors. Let's do something crazy. I've got festive berries, spiced marmalade, and squeezed lemonade. Beautiful, bright, in your face. These are my Oxide brushes. I just have to put those away because... So, I've got a pink here already. So, there we go. Let's get started. Let's start with festive berries. You're welcome, Anita. Exactly, it's different applications, it's different methods. Look at these inky fingers already. So make sure you've got a well-loaded brush and layer that pigment on there. Like that. And the inks, the distress inks, are brighter. The oxides are all going to be a bit more muted. Hi, Susanna. Yeah, the oxides are available now in minis as well. I don't have them because I have all the big ones over there. So, but yeah, that's quite handy. The only thing I would say is if you buy the minis, get the reinkers, because minis go out quickly. Oh, I'm doing it again. What an idiot am I? Okay, I'll fix that. I'm definitely not a donkey. There's a Dutch saying about a donkey doesn't hit his head twice on the same rock. Well, I'm not a donkey because I make the same mistakes over and over. But these two colors blend like charm, so I don't care, I don't mind. You'll get the gist. This is going to be a beautiful, beautiful blend. So there we go. Make sure there's enough ink on there. Close it so I don't mess up again. Well, Tina, if you go back to the live from last Monday, I will explain about the color wheel and how that works with all the different colors creating mud. These will not create mud. These are all colors that are close to each other on the color wheel, and so they will play nicely together. But for the fun, I will do a oxide version. I will mix in one color oxide, and you will see that behaves completely different. So, this is squeezed lemonade, blending that there. Then I'm going to come back with spiced marmalade, blending that down into that squeezed lemonade. You get a beautiful orangey glow where it transitions. And then picked raspberry, blend that. This looks like a sunset, right? This looks like a sunset. And I can do this for hours and hours and hours. So I'll let that do its job for a second. Pick up the water. And then I'm going to write down festive berries. Festive berries. Spiced marmalade. And squeezed lemonade. So that's going to be ready for my reference thingy later on. So I've got, look, these are, oh, I forgot to splatter that one. Can you imagine that if you don't have any ideas of inspiration, you go to these kind of reference cards? That's fun, right? You can really create fun things. Yeah, sorry, this has to have splatters as well. Let it do its thing a bit. There we go. So that's really handy to have a reference like that. Okay, I'm going to replace the squeezed lemonade ink with the oxide. And then we're going to have some fun. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do now, Tina. So, festive berries, spiced marmalade, and squeezed lemonade. Now in the first layer they will mix, they will blend, but especially later on when I do the droplets, you will see a big difference with the oxide. Okay, let's grab another piece of paper. Got them all cut out here. Drag them through this. There we go. Water, because this needs a bit more blending. There we go. This is just the first layer, so I'm not too bothered, but I do want a smooth layer. Oh, this is already... Love this. Love this. Exactly. I use oxide lemonade, yes. Oh, look at this. Tropical heat wave. Okay, let's do some more squeezed lemonade. And now you will see the pigment property of squeezed lemonade. You see that? It will lay on top. And it will get a bit of a chalky finish because of the oxide. Did you see that? How it lays on top, the color? Instead of that it blends. I mean, if I would throw more water on, it will blend. Definitely. I love this. True, oxides play together much nicer. If you are afraid of creating mud, yeah, they will play a lot nicer together. So I'm just gonna do a bit of festive berries, because these two together will make an orange. I do want a bit more layers on there. Oh, I love mixing the two because you see the layers you build up on this. Okay, this is going to be a beautiful one again. Exactly, Katie. If your mojo is gone, if you don't have inspiration, start playing with ink and it'll come. It will come. But that's the difference between the oxides and normal inks, and yeah, the fun bit of combining those two. If you do it like this, you can really see these droplets on there. So just some splatters of pure water. I'm going to let that sit for a second while I clean this up. Are you curious already what I'm going to do Friday? Some of you are really eating their nails now. Like, I want to know. Exactly. Oh, look at the depth of color in there and the layers. Oh, love that. So, put that one to the side as well. And I've got the... I mean, that's these three colors. And you recognize them once you know. So that's really cool. I love that. One more? Shall we do one more? Amy, I was the same, and I learned this by doing. I learned by doing and by watching Tim Holtz play with his inks and other people play with his inks. That's how I learned, and I just experimented. In the end of the day, it's just paper. If it turns to mud, and very often if it turns muddy, I don't mind that much because I like grunge. But yeah, that's me. Let's do something completely different again because, well, I like it. I want this one as well. Now I can't choose. Okay. Walnut stain, rusty hinge, mustard seed. That's 1. Chipped sapphire, pine needles, twisted citron. That's 2. 1 or 2? 1 or 2? One or 2? Do both, yeah. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. I think 1, 1, 2, 2. It's close, but 2 is a winner. 2 is a definite winner. Okay, let's do 2. Let's do 2. Look, this is what I've got ready to go. I just need to do something for Friday. Before I forget. Don't tell Els I did this, but I have to have this ready because I'm doing the live together with Els, and that's she's going to demand that this is ready to go. So otherwise I'll take up too much of her time. So why aren't you flowing? Oh, there you go. So just let me quickly do this. This is from the Builder Journal set. I have to finish this, so sorry about that. Oh, what's this? What do I think about? I don't know what's that gonna be. Well, we'll figure that one out Friday. Oh dear, Els is here. Well, Els, you know what I'm doing. So that's that, and then I just need to loosen these up. So, because I need one as an example. And then this is ready to go for Friday, which is also fun. So, I'm just gonna line these up. So, there. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, right, Els? I know, it's gonna be fun. Right. Oh, that's the wrong one. This one I need. A crocodile just to punch some holes in there. And then the base for what I'm going to do Friday is done. And then I need, what I'm making today, I need in there. So, let's open you up. And I need the big hole. It's the big hole? It's the big hole, yeah. So, I'm just going to line these two up. I'm going to look through the hole, and then you see the dot that I made. So that's quite easy to line up. And punch that hole. Go away, you. Dun, 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 dun. No, this is not a sneak peek. But I'm going to need it for what we're doing Friday. And I promised Els that I would be ready. So, there we go. So, that's going to go in here. So, I wonder what this is going to be. It's going to be fun. Some people might already know. Some people that were in Banff, I'm not saying much more, but some people that were in Banff might already have this. I don't know. You just gotta watch social media on January 1st. There we go. This is the last one. It's gonna go on there. Close you up. You do have an idea now, Diane. Ah. There we go. So, this is ready to go on Friday. And I will figure out what I was going to do with this. Okay. Okay, sorry, I was distracted there. Oh, I'm throwing things on the floor that I need on Friday. Don't do that. Don't do that. Back to the ink blending. We set the blues. Okay, let me see. You do know, Elsa. Oh, okay, well, fill me in, because I forgot. Piece of paper. And blue. Let me quickly do this. Just, oh, this is such an intense blue color. Purplish blue. Dark. I love it. And again, this is a color I would normally not grab. I would not gravitate towards that one. The same with pine needles. I would not gravitate towards that one as well. And the same with Twisted Citron, because Twisted Citron is not a color that I would not grab normally. But these three together, wow. And I might do the same with this one. So I will grab Twisted Citron in the Oxide version, because that will be fun for the smooshing part. Because you get the gist now, right? You can blend and ink blend all these together. But my purpose today is really to make beautiful backgrounds to use in my... That's coming up Friday. This is a stunning color to get, but look at this once you bring in that pine needles. Oh! Look at that. So I'm blending that into that chipped sapphire. And a bit into the Twisted Citron. And then I will clean off my brushy like this. Come back in with that Twisted Citron and blend down. That's one. And the same with chipped sapphire. So, wow. This is almost a Halloween color combination, right? This could be a Halloween color combination. And I'm not into Halloween that much, but this is pretty. Look at that. Well, it will come if you keep an eye out on social media on January 1st, you already know what's coming. So that's going to be fun. Okay, spritz that. It's just a fun little thing to start off the new year. Fairly? That's what it is. The blue I'm using is chipped sapphire. Very dark, moody. So, chipped sapphire, pine needles, and Twisted Citron. And again, a beautiful representation of that color blend. So let's do some smushing, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I was going to do twisted citron. There we go. I thought it was the one color I didn't have, but I do. There's 1 or 2 colors I don't have in the oxide. Now this is very dark, so I predict that that one will take over. So let's just pull this through. Oh, ho, 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 ho. Oi. Look at that. I'm just going to use water where I want it to move a bit more, but wow. Oh, that's a fun idea, Diane. If you start doing this, post your color swatches and combinations that you come up with, post them in the family group. Because this is just the tip of the iceberg of what's possible. There's so much. Exactly. Northern Lights. Northern Lights. So you go from Halloween to that Aurelius arboreus, whatever you call it. So I want a bit more of that green, the twisted citron, so I'm just gonna dab that on there. And I sort of want to keep that diagonal because that's what the paper was telling me before. Like, okay, keep it there. So, but you see, it layers on top of it. So that's fun. So I'm just building up a bit more color. Look, what you see, it immediately pearls up here. And on the glass mat, when I do the same, you get a different kind of bead. You see that? It wicks out more and it doesn't bead up. You see the difference? That's why I like to do the ink smooshing on the mat and not on the glass media mat. Okay, just a bit of purple there, purple there. Yes, 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 yes. Now, that's a bit much. I don't care. I just dab it off. But I do like this. And it's really... Can I post my swatches, you mean, else? I will. I will definitely do those. And then, just some splatters. Well, you could say to create some stars. Thank you all. So, this is a lot of layers. I'm not sure you can see that, but it's because I've mixed the oxides with the inks. You can see the oxide here is overlaying the purple, where normally green and purple would make mud, and it doesn't here. So, I love this. A galaxy is born, exactly. I could go back and even do some more. I mean, it's done when you say it's done, right? And again, because it's wet on dry, you layer. So you get layers of color. That's why you can do it. That's why you can keep going. Of course, if you wet it too much, they will blend. And what's also really fun is that they are never the same. They never turn out the same, because just to show you, this one I made with the same colors. They turned out differently. I prefer this one, but I work this one a bit more as well. Love the layers there. So that's that one. And then we've got, I've got another combination that I haven't showed you yet, but that's this one. Aged Mahogany, Wild Honey and Fired Brick. Turns out to this one, which is really interesting because aged mahogany has a pinkish tone in it, which is really interesting. So that sparked some ideas. A brown craft mat. I don't know. I don't use those, but I'm guessing so. It will work on any surface. It's just I prefer on the silicone mat. On the silicone mat, it just beats up differently. So that's that one. So I will work on that one to make a swatch card. That one we did. And then I've got this one, which is, was that the Tethered Rose? Yeah. So that's a Tethered Rose one that we already did. But also, again, this one is heavier on the dark side. See? So, same colors, different result. So you can play with that intensity. Even the way you layer colors, if you start in a different order, you get a different result. Does that make sense? So, you're welcome, Chris. So, let's switch the cameras around so I can say goodbye. I made it to the hour, even more than the hour. So I hope you liked it, guys. I really thank you for joining me today on this fun. I had fun. So, and even though it wasn't the plan I had in the beginning, I think we had fun, and I just hoped I sparked some interest for what we're doing on Friday. So join me and Els for Friday. That's always fun. If Els and I get together, it's gonna be fun. Thank you today, and I love to see you for that one. Thank you. Bye.